I'm here in the presence of a living superhero, legend, visionary, and genius who has inspired me to want to talk more with him. He hasn't been receiving the proper recognition that he deserves, but that is about to change. I am speaking of none other than Mr. Fred Sawyer. So, Mr. Fred Sawyer, what inspired you to develop your patents?
Well, it goes back to high school. I've always been sort of a renegade. My DNA is such that I'm always looking out to do things, to invent things, to do things that's never been done before. So when I was working on a project for tracking trains in a tunnel, I was inspired by using inertial navigation and RFID transponders. I saw a vital need in RFID that could be used not only in tracking trains, but could be used in other environments. That was my inspiration for using RFID to do other things, to track people and objects in a facility.
Okay. So, would you say a single event inspired you to develop your patents or multiple things?
I would say multiple things. It started, like I said, in high school, in college, and also in the military, where I was always looking to improve the instruments that I was using and also to look at new things, to invent things that have never been done before. That's what inspired me really when I was introduced to RFID. I said, well, I can use RFID in other environments in other areas.
Oh, okay. Could you explain to those that may not be familiar with RFID technology what is its significance?
Well, let me define RFID. RFID is the use of radio waves to capture information and data on a transponder, which in turn is used to be attached to people or objects to track objects or people in facilities, to identify people in facilities, and also to locate people in facilities by the use of these transponders, which are attached to individuals or objects.
Okay. Also, could you explain or elaborate on how the RFID will replace barcoding and the current progress that is making?
Right. You know, our barcoding is omnipresent in just about every environment. It's been around for a long time, but barcoding has limitations. Uh, you can't use it um, without being close to an object containing a barcode, and they have to be in direct line of sight. Through the use of RFID, you need to be very close to an object. You can be about 3 or 4 meters away from it, and it doesn't depend on the use of line of sight. And that's the difference between barcoding and RFID. Barcoding will replace, I mean, RFID, sorry, will replace barcoding in the near future. It's on its way to doing that at the present time.
Okay. How big of a role would you say has race played in your patents?
Well, race plays a factor in just about everything in America. Going to court, I believe that race has played a part in the award of a decision by the court or in elevating the decision to future courts like um, um, the district courts or in the circuit courts. You just can't get around it. The judge may have a bearing on what happens in this court, the jury, and also even the opponent. So race has an important factor. And I've been involved in um, cases where race has played a factor.
Okay. Why do you think that your ideas about RFID were ignored when brought up to investors?
Well, at the time of my invention, my innovation was not matured enough for investors to be interested in it, nobody would put forth money to carry the innovation forward. That's one of the reasons why I think it took so long for my innovation to become mature. When big companies saw that there was a need for the innovation, they stole my invention, made a lot of money, ignored me, and then had the resources to take me to court in order to destroy my patents. That's what happened in my case.
At what age did you decide to have your own patents?
As I stated before, I always wanted to think outside the box, to have my own innovations, and to create things. I think it started in grammar school. In college, when I took physics, I started doing things outside of the box. Once I got out of the military and started my own company and started looking at projects like tracking trains in tunnels, I saw the need for RFID to be expanded. And I was introduced to RFID at that time. I thought I could use RFID to track objects and people in facilities and outside of facilities. That was my inspiration to look at RFID as an innovation and for my patents.
Okay. What companies have you currently been to court for?
Well, there are 10 companies that I have sued. I have um, settled with 9 of those companies. One company from Atlanta, I lost that case in district court and also in federal court. There are many companies right now who are using my technology. I would say that they number in the hundreds.
How much progress would you say is being made on making these companies give you the credit that is rightfully yours?
I don't think I'll ever get the real credit. Only time and history will determine whether I'm going to get credit for my innovations or not. That's the way it is. Even Einstein had to wait for a long time to get the credit that he was due.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Well, just as I was involved in a big uh, project for the U.S. government called Star Wars, I was at the front end of that particular program. I want to be known as being an innovator, of being at the front end of technology called RFID, a radio frequency identification. History will determine what my legacy will be.
Okay. Did you ever think that your visionary ideas would be ignored and, in the same process, stolen from you?
So that's what exactly what has happened to me. When I invented uh, and took my patents to the patent office, at one time the patent office will publish those innovations before the patents are granted. Some of the large companies have legions of people who look at innovations in the patent office. They steal those innovations, make a lot of money, and when you take those companies to court, they have legions of lawyers that will raise motions to destroy your patents with any means possible. That's exactly what has happened to me in some cases.
Okay. You are really a true inspiration to so many upcoming creative, talented, and visionary people. What advice would you give to them, and when should they start getting patents on their intellectual property?
Well, if one has an idea, never give up and never take no for an answer. There will always be naysayers who say that you can't do this or that.